Alrighty. We are recording, and this is Real Talk Beyond the Headlines, hashtag RTBTH. Yeah, I don't think we have like a script for this podcast. We're just
That's kind of agenda.
Yeah,
I got my hot take.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
The instigator's back.
The instigator.
Yeah. Honestly, we just wanted to chop it up on New Year's Day. You know, a great way to bring in the new year. Usually me, Ahi, and Herschel, or various others, James included, who's on the podcast. What's up, James?
What's good, everybody? What's good, fellas?
Yeah, we got James, the life expert on the podcast.
Yes,
we have
sir.
Ahi, who is our official third co-host. We have Herschel and Tunde, your other co-host. And yeah, we just chopping it up. Just, you know, the first sort of major activity in 2021 that we're doing, or social activity, I don't know, whatever. But since we're not doing various other activities to bring in the new year, we figured we'd do a podcast. Fellas.
Yes, indeed.
Indeed.
I'm with you.
Yo, did y'all get the checks in? Y'all check your bank accounts?
Yes, I definitely got that
Y'all
shit
feeling
hitting
flush?
4 a.m. I already spent that whole thing on stupid shit. Yes, furniture in the house, shit I don't need. Y'all gonna see new bookcases and fucking cases for my degrees and shit, all kind of stupid shit, man.
Wayfair is out here.
It's so hilarious, man. You know, we don't have to. I mean, I do want to talk about some stimulus check shit, but it's hilarious to me that the government thought that this little $600 was doing anything. It was like a nice little late Christmas present, I guess. Like, this shit is like, who the fuck is about to really do some shit with $600 to turn their life around, to help them, the relief from the coronavirus?
There's some niggas out there who's trying to cop a PS5 or
debt.
Xbox, and whose life just got turned
True
around
story.
because they got the new system. Herschel.
Yo, that was what was holding their life back. The fact that they didn't have the
There
PS5,
are
they didn't
some
have the
people-
other 600, because the
Yes.
whole PS5 is 800, and that's
for
or
real?
some shit like that with tax. So,
Damn.
but I guess so.
No, I thought it was 500, but
No,
they selling it
like
online for
750.
800.
Oh,
It's $4.99 for it, that's all.
Yeah, but like the people who are selling them online, the ones that you can actually find, they've been jacked up. Like the prices have been gassed because people bought all of them and now they're reselling. They're trying to eat off that. Yeah, so yeah, you can get one for 800. That's what they're selling for on eBay.
God damn it. But yeah, man. So I do have like a.
Did
Go ahead.
what's his name get that PS5? The dude that was at the bar last weekend. He said he left and went to Best Buy. Did he get the
bar?
PS5?
Oh my god! All right, so we're watching football at like Hudson Grill or some shit, and like a nigga is at
What
the
the
bar,
fuck are
like
y'all
with
doing
us.
at bars?
And he was like, bruh, I'm going to go to this Best Buy because I heard they got PS5s. We never heard from that nigga again. So we don't know if he got it. He might be dead. You really don't know. You know, I will have to follow
okay.
up. I am not sure.
Yeah, I'm curious, man. I wonder how he got it. If he did. If he
Yeah,
did
man.
get it.
But there are like some shit that like, you know, I want to just touch on from 2020, or we can touch on from 2020, but I want to also talk about shit to look ahead, like shit we're excited for in 2021. I don't want to be too much of a downer this episode.
Let's review 2020.
Yes.
Real quick.
Oh
Okay.
God, it's painful.
Do you have any kind of review documents, any kind of like, or do we want to do this shit off memory?
I just want to say that I hate all of these goodbye 2020 or, you know, like good riddance 2020 posts, because ain't shit changed. Like it's still at the end of 2021. Hopefully it would have been a much better year, but we're still gonna be like halfway into 2021 struggling. So I'm just like, y'all can't just discard 2020. Like, it's still here.
We still in 2020.
Yeah, life is 2020.
Part 2.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And that's the thing, man. So obviously we're gonna look forward, but yeah, more niggas are gonna die. Sorry, sad to say, that's life. You know, more you know, tragic shit is gonna happen. Some more shit is gonna blow up. Y'all remember that big ass explosion that happened in wherever the fuck in the Middle East or somewhere for like a day that
Beirut?
like everybody care about? I guess it was Beirut. I don't even remember. I'm just thinking of shit that happened.
Oh
but like
yeah,
so much other shit.
No, this was in
happened
Lebanon. This was in Lebanon.
Yeah, Beirut.
Yeah. Not even the terrorist
Lebanon.
attack that we had in America in fucking Tennessee.
Yeah, you're right.
That I also keep forgetting about because other shit keeps happening. But I mean,
You
that's
keep
life,
forgetting
baby.
about it because 45 keeps forgetting about it.
I mean, that we're not even gonna.
Don't
address
bring that dude up.
anymore.
He's
Yo, I
outta
low
here.
key like
He's
had
old news.
like 3 days
Just
where I
saying.
didn't think about him. It was so good. I
Yeah.
was like, oh,
Yes.
That's going to be really nice.
I said this to myself a while ago, but Trump is embedded in our American psyche, like our collective psyche. Like, I think I was thinking this around the impeachment. Like, he just everywhere you go is Trump. And all that seemed to has like really died down since the election, which is such a reprieve. Feels so fucking good.
It does.
It's just him and his sycophants talking about that shit. And every time somebody brings it up, you can immediately just kind of shut your brain off. Like, all right, well, I don't have to trust anything that comes out of your mouth. All right, cool. Peace. That's awesome.
Zone out.
Fucking quick exit right there. But yeah, man. So a lot of things I do want to say in 2020 were kind of great. Were kind of dope. Obviously,
like what,
it's bruh. I mean, we had a lot of time.
Look, you got into PhD programs, so you're living good, man. You got some fellowships coming in.
Personal anecdote. Yes, my whole life, turned around. Like I did a lot of dope shit. Went to Costa Rica and shit. Was living it up. I'm in Atlanta also, where it isn't shut down, so I get the opportunity. I'm not going places like that. That bar was like the first thing I did in literally like ate in a restaurant.
Bar?
And literally,
What bar?
the shit was crazy. It was Hudson Grill in Midtown. Yeah, I'm snitching. We had on masks and then we didn't. Just like everywhere else. That's what happens, man. You can't. What do you want to do, bro?
Chicken wings through a mask.
It's places in Atlanta. It's fucking Jack's Pizza and Wings. I'm calling everybody out. Jack's Pizza and Wings niggas rolling up at the table. We're not even legal here, but we don't have masks on. We got nothing. We just out. We just out and about. Atlanta is just a crazy place.
Why are you snitching, dude?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Wait, this is last night? This is last night?
No. That was like earlier in the summer or some shit. I'm just saying that like places. I mean, y'all saw Compound. Y'all saw the videos of Compound. They put a swimming pool in the club during a pandemic, and niggas went. People pulled up. They were giving out free Hennessy. That's why people showed up there and were lit. I saw the Instagram stories. It was crazy. But those were good times. Yes, some people probably got sick. We can't always try to quantify the bad things based on, the good times and the fun times. We've been able to expand this podcast. We've done hella podcasts. I don't know if we've done this many podcasts in a year for RTBTH. This has been a banner year.
This was definitely the most productive year for RTBTH.
Yeah, man.
And I would like to add that we brought on our third official member. So, RTBTH actually made some moves.
We did. Since James did bring up 45, niggas got out and voted.
George
I don't want to talk,
baby.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about any of the protest shit because a lot of that shit now is fucking trash to me as well. It's theater. I think people pretending or being socially acceptable to agree with black people now, but it is what it is. It's another improvement, a step forward in social consciousness, right? Did any good movies come out? Did we do anything?
Actually, I want to go ahead and go on my Tenet rant. James, I'm glad you're on the podcast too.
Dude, I haven't seen it, man. Man.
Me neither. Spoil that shit. Spoil the hell out.
Spoil it. Fuck it. Because apparently it's super confusing. So if you tell me what happened, I won't even know.
Anyway, but real quick, James, can you run down what your background is, what the kind of work that you do? I actually don't know if you've ever officially explicated that on the podcast.
Oh, well, shoot, man. Hello, world. I'm a filmmaker. I went to school for film. So I have expertise in all things movies and television shows and where else is going on in the visual world. So Tenet. I saw Tenet. You saw Tenet today?
I did.
What'd you think?
I mean, I will say this, like I'm like I'm very like critical of films. Mm-hmm. Like, first of all, for me, it's plot. Plot is everything. Like, okay, I'll give you an example. The Mandalorian. Like, the show is incredible, but the plot is so simple, and I love it. Like, exactly what's going on. There's a fucking Baby Yoda, and there's a guy who got some armor. He's protecting the Baby Yoda, and they get into fights and blow shit up. The Baby Yoda gets captured again or whatever, or gets reunited with the Mandalorian, and that's it. It's simple, but there's lots of explosions, and so with Tenet, the plot is completely convoluted and complicated and so hard to follow. And the weird part is that John David Washington, who killed it, I think he's a great actor. Like, all of his lines were really simple, really just like basic dialogue. So it's like,
you didn't like the hot sauce line?
I don't remember that one, but I mean the lines were good, but it's like, how do you have this really sort of simple ass dialogue, but then you have this convoluted ass plot, you know, and then you throw in the fucking quantum physics.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, and they don't. That's one thing that I struggle with. Nolan with Interstellar and this film, he tries to bring in these really, really complicated quantum physics and relativity principles into the plot line, into the story, but he doesn't describe it enough for us to comprehend what is truly happening. Like this in Tenet, like there's this concept that things go in reverse time. Like people, there's a shit ton of people that don't even understand time as its own sort of plane or its own dimension, like space, right? Mm-hmm. Like there's a sort of forward and backward component, and there's like a measurable aspect of time. Mm-hmm. I'm just talking shit. I don't know shit about physics, but
yeah, you're doing good. Keep going.
Makes sense to me, man.
Anyway, but yeah, I just had to rant about that because that was towards the end of 2020, probably one of the biggest films in 2020. You know, but I mean, I gotta give it up to
the biggest film.
What?
Probably the biggest film of 2020 for sure.
Yeah,
not Wonder Woman
of all three films.
Yeah. No, Tenet.
No, I'm saying,
actually,
but
no.
Bigger than
I have another one. The one with Sacha Baron Cohen. Borat 2
Borat
was
2.
great. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. That shit was really funny.
Hilarious.
I didn't see it.
You know, it wasn't too
hilarious.
coronavirus-y and, you know, on the nose and shit and too political. It was funny. It was maybe a little better than the first one. I don't fucking know. I don't remember. But the shit was fun. It was just like another good time. Way better than Wonder Woman. We don't have to trash it right now, but I've definitely told you guys in the group chat that the plot again was trash. It just doesn't make sense. It's one of those movies that like felt like it was trying to be fun, you know, fun-loving 80s movie like with Arnold Schwarzenegger or some shit, but it just doesn't work. It just, you know, there's a whole bunch of stupid shit. It's like a but what if movie. Like, oh man, wouldn't it be cool if Wonder Woman did this or did this or did this or had wishes or could turn her jet invisible on the first try or could fly or, you know, just stupid shit, man, you know, that had nothing to do with like what all was going on. But I also love from 2020. Like yeah, it's been getting crushed. I love the smorgasbord of fucking sports that we ended up getting because for a second there in March, April, May, I thought we were never going to have sports again. I mean, I didn't think that, but like it was looking bleak as fuck. But then all of a sudden we got football, basketball, baseball all going on at the same time. That shit was insane. It didn't make any sense. But I felt like it was fun. You know, that was something that we as a society have never seen before. But they made that shit work. They figured it out because obviously they got to get to the money. Y'all can listen back to our old RTBTH podcast where I called that shit out. The NFL wasn't ready. They were out here skating. They figured it out somehow, but they still have had everybody on the fucking Ravens getting some kind of COVID. The Steelers had to play a game, 3 games within 12 days, which is fucking wild. But I mean, I loved it. And for next year, I'm excited for hopefully, I mean, they can figure out how to do the Olympics because the Olympics was supposed to happen in 2020.
Nah, bruh.
So
ain't no Olympics.
I don't know. Bruh, they're gonna have it and no film, no fans. Man. Yeah, they're just gonna test everybody. But I don't know what happens when niggas start testing positive. I don't know if they require them to get the vaccine. Which shout out to the vaccine hashtag get vaccinated. We don't want to hear I mean, I do want to hear y'all's conspiracy theories, but please, I do not want to argue with people about this shit. But you know, make your own decisions.
Anyway, real quick, James, if you could just go ahead and give the takes that you have about Tenet, the filmmaker's sort of overview perspective. Am I wrong to consider it just a 5 out of 10 film?
5 out of 10. I think that's a little harsh. But I will say that this is probably Christopher Nolan's most convoluted, confusing plot. Including films like Inception and stuff like that, The Prestige. I felt like, because I've seen it twice. The first time I saw it, I was just sort of going just to enjoy the spectacle. Second time around, I really sort of paid attention to like the technical aspects of it, the story and stuff like that. And I did feel like the story to me wasn't revolutionary per se. I get the whole like, I mean, Nolan likes to mess with like time and space and stuff like that in his films. But I felt like this one wasn't fully fleshed out as it could have been. That being said, I think the visual effects were pretty amazing, especially like some of the aspects when like the backwards driving car and stuff like that. I thought that was pretty cool visually. So overall, I would probably give the film like maybe 7 to 7.5. That's coming from somebody who made some bona fide classics. So he's got a couple 9s and even 10s in his catalog.
All right. Hey, that was a nice little wrap up of the film and overview in your perspective. Thank you, James.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. It was a cool film. Yeah. Any other movies? Oh, speaking of the Olympics, I watched Icarus on Netflix. Have y'all seen that documentary?
I have not.
Nah.
Oh man.
Tell us about it.
No, actually, one thing that I've been thinking about a lot lately. I don't want to get too deep into shit, but like we were talking about this in the group text, but I don't think people really understand like how good it is to live in the United States and like these sort of like socialist type countries. Even though Russia technically is a democratic country that supposedly elects its officials, but I mean Putin. Did y'all know Putin? Okay, so I went down the rabbit hole, but I'm going to try and wrap this up and bring it back to Icarus. But did you know Putin was president at the turn of the millennium?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and then
he's been
you can
finessing for
only
a long
hold the
time.
presidency 2 years or 2 terms. So he stepped down. He was prime minister for 4 years and then became president again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did know that.
That is
And
crazy.
when he was prime minister, he switched the powers. So he had them switch it so the prime minister actually had more control during the time when he was the prime minister. Yeah,
That
so
is
I mean, yeah, dude. They love him out there. Have you watched
He's
some
a-
of his interviews?
He's a
He is
gangster.
charismatic as fuck. He is like he's actually he's quite impressive of a person, even though he's facilitating a lot of negative things in the world, at least according to our worldview. But he's an impressive dude, man. Like he's very with it. He's quite the politician. So
he's intelligent, but he also exudes like the power man, the strong man. And to some extent, I don't know much about Russian politics or Vladimir Putin in general, but he kind of actually lives it. Unlike Trump, where he's pretty much always been a cowering dog his whole life, but he exudes the strong man persona. Vladimir Putin, he was in the KGB, the FSB, he kind of really is actually like a sort of power man to some extent. But
yeah, man, he walks the walk, talks the talk.
But
He's gangster for real.
Real quick, so Icarus is about a filmmaker was trying to run, compete in this pretty much the hardest amateur cycling competition in France, and he wanted a physician to help or a scientist to help him dope, just to prove that he could get away with it. And then it pretty much like transformed into this film where the Russian doping scandal blew up during the making of the film, and the main whistleblower was the scientist that the guy got. His name is Brian Fogel. And anyway, it just like blew up into this whole thing, and Russia was like basically state-sponsored doping program. Like the athletes were forced to dope. And then the whistleblower's life is in jeopardy because Russia is trying to kill him, and now he's in witness protection program in the United States. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like that shit does not happen in the United States. And if it does, you don't hear about it because the CIA takes care of that shit quick. But the thing is just like you can't just be in Russia and say whatever you want. You can't write whatever you want and publish it. Same with China. And I don't think people understand how, I think that's something that I've noticed a lot more in 2020. Like, people are getting censored in China from providing information about the pandemic early on. Everything that's been happening with Hong Kong for the past couple of years now. But I'm just like, I think the United States definitely has its issues, Trump being a major, major one. The most cancerous of issues Trump is. But it's fucking great being in this country, man. You can write whatever you want on freaking Twitter, medium.com and post it and nobody gives a fuck. Unless it has to do with national security. So, there's a lot of things that we definitely need to sort of forget about 2020. But one thing that I learned is that it's not too bad being an American citizen.
Yo, did the film Icarus talk about their motivation I mean, aside from, I guess, winning, was it supposed to just be like, yo, we are a strong Russia and we're gonna win all of these Olympic things? And they got kicked out before they can even participate, right? They're banned. Are they not banned from the Olympics?
Yeah, they've been banned for a couple of years. A couple of the Olympics.
Yeah,
they need to tighten up.
I mean, the film suggests that Russia has been actually doing the doping since way, way, way decades ago, but the most evidence is for Sochi and I guess Brazil, maybe, or Sochi and whatever happened before
Rio.
that. No, well, I don't think it was Rio. I think it was the one before in 2012, London. Was that Beijing? London, yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it's really, honestly, it's just like, if you're not cheating, you ain't trying. That sort of thing. It's just that in Russia, it's state sponsored. In the United States, it's each person for themselves.
Yeah, that's freedom. That's freedom right there.
Oh yeah,
Best drugs money can buy. Yeah, yes indeed.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
that's interesting, man. So what ended up happening to that guy? So he's just in witness protection. He's just out here.
Yeah, but I think there was an article somewhat recently that I read that was published somewhat recently that Russia's like still
trying to kill him.
Hell yeah, they're looking for that dude.
Like,
yeah.
Yes, they poisoned.
Y'all know the U.S. government is looking for Edward Snowden still right now.
But they're not trying to murder him.
Hell yes, they would. They got their hands on him.
They're trying to prosecute him.
They would grab that dude up. Okay. Yeah, they would prosecute him and then they would put him in a place similar to Guantanamo, and you don't know what the fuck would go down because they'd be like, bro, you fucked up.
Snowden can
some
defend
of our
himself.
highest level.
The law that supposedly where the mass surveillance was proven to be illegal or unconstitutional, one of the two. You can look it up. But the law that Snowden exposed that allowed the NSA to survey the nation on a mass scale was shown to be or found to be unconstitutional. So Snowden can defend himself and potentially get a smaller sentence or no sentence because he would win the case.
So is the NSA still surveilling U.S. citizens?
Most definitely.
Well, so it means nothing. So he did nothing.
They run a tight ship this time.
Yeah, he just told us that they're doing it. Yeah. They still want to kill that dude. Hell yeah. If they could.
They don't want to murder Snowden, man. Snowden is chilling in Russia. If they really wanted to pick him up, they would have found a way.
I wonder how he gets money. Like, do you think he's working for Russia? Like, what is he doing now?
Dude probably has a fucking...
He's in asylum.
Say what?
So they just pay for all your stuff. You just hang out for free?
I think the last thing I heard, he was in asylum in like Brazil or something.
Oh, huh.
No, he's in Russia. I mean, well, I don't know actually, but like when he does interviews, he says he's in Russia. Maybe he could be somewhere else, which would make sense because he's trying to escape. But then
they would find him though. Like I feel like if you leave Russia, man, they're gonna get you right away.
Yeah,
like the U.S. got the tentacles everywhere.
Oh
I guess you can go to China too. Russia and China, you'd probably be safe.
Yeah,
but once you step out of there, man,
I agree.
It's a wrap.
I agree. Anyway, moving on. I think it's officially time to hear A's hot take. I've been waiting.
Yeah.
Is this the first hot take of 2021? Let's go.
I don't know. Let's see. All right. So I don't want to build up too much fanfare for this, but so if you put ethics to the side.
Ooh, I like where this is going. Let's go. Oh yeah. Okay. Put those ethics to the side. Hell yeah, that's a great way to start off.
I mean, because
it's about to be the hottest take ever. Let's go. Oh shit, fuck them ethics. Get your IRB board up out of here. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, and if you look at the world as a winner take all kind of system, if you have that perspective, when I think about race relations in America and the reasons why white people don't support advancing equality and all of these different things that we as black people have been fighting for. One thing that people always say, oh, it's racism. Like they just don't like you because you're black. Like they think you're dumb, all these stereotypes. Like, yeah, I mean, all those things are disgusting and bad. And you hear that all the time. But I wonder if what I don't hear, which makes me think is probably or potentially something that people think about, at least white people would think about, is the actual reason why they don't really fully support equality is this. So, like I said, if you look at it and from a perspective that there's, ethics are just something that we sort of made up because they're good, and
we did. You're right.
when
Yes, ethics are made up.
So if you put all that stuff to the side, when you look at how the world has gone from and you look at groups of people and how they dominate and take what they want, and there's certain empires that take over and are controlling for long periods of time, and their descendants all benefit from that sort of prolific history.
Imperialism.
Yeah. One thing that I don't hear is a perspective that, our ancestors worked and built this system. They took over, and we're just the beneficiaries, and this is the system that they set up. So I'm not against you because of, the color of your skin, but I'm not going to give up anything because the world is a dog eat dog world.
Yeah, to the victor go the spoils. You're right.
Exactly. Like we were, the victor writes the history books, but you don't hear that.
That is,
even though I suspect that a lot of people have that perspective.
Wow,
Yeah,
that
that's very
is a
true.
flamethrower take. Like, I don't know if it's necessarily a take. I think it's just an observation. Like,
I think it's like the undercurrent. I think that's the undercurrent of our racial situation is that, well, I mean, I'm not going to accuse anyone of this. I don't know, right? I just thought of this randomly. But I think that a lot of people probably feel that way, where it's, we're a very individualistic, capitalistic society here in the U.S. People have, it's very within our culture of the United States to be independent and, work for what you get, and, build up a safe haven for your family for the future. And they might feel that their people, however, whether or not it's ethically, acceptable in this day's standards, how they did it or where they got those resources from and how they took it. But at the end of the day, it's like, well, they got it. They set it up, right? They took this stuff, and at a certain point, yeah, you could be mad about it ethically, but at the end of the day, if there wasn't any of that, it would be, they would get to keep doing what they're doing, and progress would just continue being as slow as it is. It's like, we're not going to give you any handouts to bring you up out of poverty. This is just the way it was, right? We don't need to level the playing field. You just climb out as you get out, and that's something that I don't support, obviously, but I feel like we don't hear enough. The fact that I don't hear it being said makes me think that there's a lot more credence to it than people.
I think that people just don't accept that, like, it is a cultural thing, like that there are winners and losers in life and society. We cannot all win, even though we've been told our whole lives, you could be anything, you do anything, particularly as we've been talking about today in America. But this, even though black people are not a monolith, white people are not a monolith, they don't all think the same. These mass mentalities are real. They are a part of the culture. Tribalism is still evident, even though, we have smartphones and, self-driving cars and all kinds of shit. All of those ancient things of like, people that look like me are better than people that don't look like me. That type of mentality, or should benefit more than people who don't look like me, is always going to be present. And you mentioned, like, again, throwing out ethics and, the progress that has been made here. But, like, I think of it in two ways, right? There are two main things that really lead to progress. One of them is war or violence, like some catalyst happens and, like, we move forward as a society. And sometimes it's really bad for the loser, basically, right? Or we move forward slowly through ethics where, like, rising tide lifts all ships, pretty much. And we've identified that in the long term, it's way better for everyone. It improves even the people at the top. If you have ethics and, lift everybody up, but that shit is slow. That shit sucks. Right. Mm-hmm. Which I think is also, we're not getting super into politics, but that's how, like, these Republican mentalities get out. Like, I want, again, I want to win people like me, people who are in financial positions, whether they are rich or poor, just people who think that they are similar and think that their team should be winning. Fuck the rest at that point.
Yeah, so,
people don't admit that, but I think that's the kind
so
of
I don't even think about it. I mean, there's there's the racism aspect where people think they're superior because of the past and like have an elevated sense of self-worth and they deserve more just purely because of heritage. That's one thing, and I'm saying even put that aside because that's pretty much racism, you know. Like, but what I'm talking about is not necessarily racism. Like people who aren't racist, they think everyone is equal, but they believe we won the war essentially, right? We won this war initially, and this is what the spoils of that victory are, right? The current setup. And so, yeah, I want to give you an opportunity to, you're equal. You can do whatever you want as if you can, you know, get what you get. If you work hard, you get lucky, things will work out for you. So I'm saying like for people who have that perspective, they might be like, well, I'm not going to give up stuff just to help you out because people,
but see, that's the thing.
Work for this. Like my
but that's the thing though.
Worked for this, and so I deserve it.
The war that you're talking about, though, happened not even 400 years ago when there was slavery and shit, or when, you know, the slave trade first kicked off. But like even prior to that, where like all these Europeans were having wars with each other and that they advanced to where they had better military shit, better weapons and shit, and then came to Africa or wherever the fuck, and they were already superior. They were already like, yo, we could dominate you. We could do whatever we want. We're gonna take this shit, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean,
it's a harsher environment up there. You know, it's
Yeah.
a harsher environment. It kind of breeds that sort of, you know, militarism up there because, you know, like in Africa, man, things growing. Like if somebody steals your goat and there's like 1,000 more goats, you can just grab something off the tree. Like nobody's really stressing like that. Like we ain't really going to try to figure out a way to go kill 1 million people. But if you're in, you know, the Scandinavia, northern UK currently, you know, it's like it gets fucking cold. It's raining. Like there's famines. There's no food. It snows half the year. Bro, if somebody steals your food, you're about to die. So you're about to go take his shit. You know, you're coming back. You're about to find a way to kill him and all his people.
Yeah,
and
that's the Viking mentality.
Yeah.
They were doing that shit to the rest of Europe.
You know? Yeah. That's where a lot of them come from. So that's what I'm saying. Like, at the end of the day, like, if people were talking about that, you're like, well, that kind of makes sense. But I think that's what people have. Like, I think that may be the Republican mentality. Like, they can't say it because the reason why they vote the way they do, because it doesn't make sense, right? They say all this stuff about, oh, you know, we're Christians, or whatever. You know, they have all these ideals and ethics that they preach and spread around that's supposed to be guiding their behavior. But the policies that they support don't really follow that, right? And it's like, what is really driving their decision making? What's the underlying pattern there? Because it seems to be, you know, mostly white people who are Republican, right? And so it's like, what is it that's unifying these guys? What is the guiding principle? Because if you look right now, what are the Republicans' guiding principles? You don't know, right? Like, what is it? Like, they give money to random people whenever they want. It's rich people, and then they're like, they talk. It's all over the place. They're like, we're against the deficit, and then they run up the debt. You know, like, so what is it that they're really about? And I'm starting to think that this is what it is. The underlying current is we deserve this because our ancestors got it. Tough break for you guys. We're gonna let you guys compete, but you know, if we're already ahead, we're already ahead. see you when you get here, type shit.
Pretty much,
you know.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying a lot of things that I have thought before. Like, I've always wondered, like, why, you know, white people can be like outwardly supporting equality and equity, you know, across the races, but why would they actually need to like actually do it? You know, like if you're already ahead and if your life is pretty good, why would you actually have to do anything about it? You know, but honestly, it's a
disincentive for you. You know, it's like you're gonna lose out, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're gonna lose stuff by doing this,
right? And nobody wants to sort of like move backwards. Nobody wants to move backwards in life. Not poor people, not rich people. Nobody. Everyone is specifically, particularly in the United States. We want to move forward. You know, I think I mentioned to you guys, like, when George Floyd was killed, a white woman in my program emailed me and said something to the effect of like, I'm with you. I'm sorry that this happened. Like, this woman who I never spoke, like we have spoken, but just always in the context of class and, you know, our degree program and whatnot. And I was just like, you know, I really I guess I appreciate your email, but this is the actual like issue, is that you don't actually have to talk to black people. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like I always tell myself, you know, and usually things I tell myself I end up saying on the podcast. So I appreciate y'all listening. But I'm always like, if white people really want to make a difference, they need to move to the hood, because the resources that you hoard in the suburbs is the reason why black people can't move forward, because the resources are hoarded in certain areas, and it just so happens the people in those areas are white. You know, like I think what you're sort of saying to some extent is that race issues are actually issues of economics, you know, and at the end of the day, nobody wants to give up the shit that they already have, you know.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to give up wealth unless you have a shit ton of it and you can still be a billionaire. Like, you know, Bill Gates and Zuckerberg's out here. You can be a billionaire after already giving several hundreds billions of whatever. Nobody wants to give up their money and their resources and their economic power, you know? So like I said about my classmate, like your email is nice and very kind and thoughtful, but she ain't never been to Compound. You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously, you don't ever have to. She's never been in the gym, shooting in the gym with me. Y'all know I like to hoop. She ain't never been shooting in the gym with me. She's never taken a shot of tequila or whiskey with me. She ain't never been to Compound with me. She ain't never gone to fucking Top Golf in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? Like,
She's never been to Edgewood.
I'm saying, you know, so that is the fundamental issue, is that you never actually have to interact with black people if you're white.
Did you respond?
You don't
Did you
have
respond
to.
that?
Yeah, she doesn't have to. That's the thing. But we, being black, you have to. If you want to climb the ladder and be successful, you have to interact with white people, because they are already over there. That's where they at. So it's kind of unfair to you know, the way she kind of put that in the email.
Yeah, you know, and like I said, if white people want to make a difference for real, they need to move to the hood, get a shack in the hood, and start.
But see, that's the problem with that, though, becomes black people hate the gentrification, because those white people who have some money move to the hood, and then it raises property value, and then the black people who live there can no longer afford to live there. This is not too much of a hot take, but I low key think that there are a lot of positives to gentrification, because it does, reinfuse wealth into poor communities. Yeah, it kicks those people out, but to Ehi's hot observation earlier, them people have. I mean, I hate it. I hate that it's like this, but those people are already lost to an extent. I hope better for their kids and their futures, which again, for the Republicans, I would assume that they would also want, the future for people who haven't made it yet to be a little bit easier. But that's the thing that I don't understand. But basically, my hot take is gentrification, not that bad.
I kind of agree with you. I mean, there has to be, like you said, winners and losers. In everything, right? So like somebody's going to benefit, even if it's a contract that the government's going to do to help, all these people get food. Like they're going to give the contract to somebody's company that's going to do the actual work. The government doesn't grow food. It's like, but there's going to be a winner, like the company who gets the contract and the company that doesn't. Those workers there, may get laid off at the other company if they didn't get the contract. And it's not for any negative. There's a net positive, right? The government has, gotten these people resources. It's just that there's going to be, in everything, there's always somebody who's going to lose, because there's not infinite resources out there.
And again, since we're throwing out ethics, we have created this zero-sum game. I do want to say, for the sake of the pod, before we all get dragged, we don't want to throw out ethics. Life is not a zero-sum game, but for the sake of this conversation, I definitely agree with you.
No, you gotta make disclaimers about everything you say now, because the dragging will ensue on Twitter specifically.
Nah, we might go viral if we get dragged. Let's go. Get some more listeners up in here. Get that MAGA crowd behind us. Let's go.
Yeah. I think people need to at least think of these. I'm not saying any of this is right, or, in terms of ethically or morally right. I don't believe that this is what people do. I don't know if this is how, our white brothers and sisters actually think about the situation. And you can't really ask them that.
The thing is that it might not even be conscious. Might not even be a conscious thing. They might not be like, oh yeah, this is what the people, my predecessors left for me. It just simply comes down to the fact that if you have wealth, you want to keep it. Nobody wants to give away their wealth.
Well, exactly. But that's what I'm saying. They know where they're getting the wealth from. I feel like they know that they're getting it because their ancestors, because they're always talking about inheritance and, you know, their family, like their forefather, they did this, like, you know, you hang out with white people, you know, they tell you about their family history and shit like that, what they do. And so, you know, they have a lot, they have a lot of pride in it, which, you know, I'm not saying they shouldn't. I mean, it's just they should, right? So I think inherently they're going to have these thought processes come up. Maybe they may not, you know, embrace them, or they may not start to use that as their way to define the world. But I feel like it has to at least cross somebody's mind.
Yeah. White people probably have felt a lot of cognitive dissonance this year because, like, you know, look, for me, I'm not going to say that I'm like, you know, I'm not an expert on race or anything, but I can tell you this. There's a shit ton of places in the world where there's only white people. And I've seen a bunch of them because I'm in there and I'm the only black person. And I'm like, what the fuck does this look like if I'm not here right now? You know? And I think the situation with George Floyd brought that to the forefront. You know, like race became at the forefront of everyone's mind. And if you know, white people sort of like spend a little bit of time looking around in their environment, they'll see, oh my God, there's not a lot of black people around here. You know? So I think in moments like that, it does, there is a cognitive dissonance in the sense that like you like your life, you like what you have sort of acquired in over time, and whether it's you or your ancestors or whatever, but at the same time, if the fundamental issue is that there's no sort of if the divides in race ultimately result in divides in class, and if you're only surrounded by white people, then inherently you know you're doing something to sort of add to this race climate. You know, but hey, is James still there? James, you got any hot takes? God damn it!
I'm listening.
Yeah, what do you think, man? What do you think about this?
I just don't think most white people really care about people outside themselves, man.
Because to me, I don't think they have to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's the same reason, right? They're good where they're at. You know, why give up shit?
Why give up shit? What's the importance of it? Why can't you pick yourself up by your bootstraps? That type of thing, you know? That bullshit.
Yep. They don't understand the system that was created. I mean, that might be it too. They might not understand the system that was created by their ancestors. Like, you know, we see the system from a completely different side. They don't understand how it works because for them, there's a very defined system that they use, and it works well for them. What were you saying, James?
I think some of them do understand the system very well. They just know it's to their advantage. So why change it? Instead of making it merit based and based on competition and altruism, they would rather just keep the status quo.
I agree with you, but I mean, the other thing I would say is, what if, I'm just throwing out, you know, random hot takes. Like, I don't believe this, but what if people say that your wealth is your merit? So, for example, like these people who are paying to get their kids into Stanford, they put them in jail. You know, their kids are clearly not Stanford material. Otherwise, they would have gotten in without any help.
Yeah.
But what if they say, hey, look, I can afford to do what it takes to get what I want, and that's how it should be. I mean, obviously, I don't believe that, but what if? What would you say? What would you say to that?
If our bank accounts were a meritocracy?
Yeah, no.
A lot of people fucked.
The measurement of your merit is based on how much money you have, right?
Oh, that would be terrible.
That would be awful.
I mean, is that not how it is already?
That's what I'm saying. It's not far off from that.
No, it is not. It is very far from that. There's a lot of shitty people with a lot of money. There are also a lot of good people without any money.
Exactly.
Like
Nobody know they ass.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
No, I'm not saying allocating money. Like, I'm not saying allocating money to you as a person based on how good you are. I'm saying if you're going to look at somebody's merit and say, you know, what is your right to get into Stanford, for example. I'm just using that as an example. It's not as if you could say the regular meritocracy is, I got straight A's, I did all the community service, I'm a 3 athlete or 3 sport athlete, state champion winner, you know,
Won the spelling bee.
and on the spelling bee twice. That's merit. That's the meritocracy we're thinking of. But then you can also look at it on the other side and say, I have a shit ton of money. I want to go to Stanford. I don't really care if I don't know shit. I just want to go. Is my worth of getting into Stanford not based on my money? Or can we have it so that it's based on how much money I have? And then I could do whatever I want.
I mean, you're right. It is kind of like that. Like, I think if they had gone through, for your particular example, if they had gone through the right channels, whether that be using the bread that they have to either prepare their kids so they could be Stanford students, or, buying a building legitimately for Stanford rather than like finessing the fucking admissions dude, which is just so hilarious, man.
I mean, the building is way more expensive. Like, you would have to drop like $50 million versus what the $100,000 that they put drop.
Yeah, 200, 150 they were dropping.
Yeah. Still, there are more legitimate ways that because they have more opportunities with the money that they have. Why would you do that? I'm totally with. I think that's how it is already. Because first of all, on one hand, you can just pay for your kid to go to private school for 12 years, and I mean through private school, they're going to be smart enough to get into some pretty good.
And it's a
good
pipeline.
Schools.
If you send your kids to the right private schools, they have they have recruiters who come and they let in a set number every year from those schools to all the Ivy Leagues. Like it's a system. Like somebody, I met a dude who went to one of these schools. He was telling me that this is how it was, and I'm like, well, damn. Ain't nobody from Harvard came to goddamn Mill Creek High School talk about
right.
how many of y'all want to come this year? They weren't talking like that.
Yeah, real talk.
So not even having the door to the opportunity, I guess, would be the money move or the merit in having money. But
which is real quick tangent, man. This is why you niggas and myself included, but which is why we have to like really strive to be great, because I don't want people thinking that you can't make it if you are not necessarily rich, or if you're an immigrant, and your parents had to come and struggle for a couple years to get on their feet to support their children. But yeah, you went to public school, you went to Emory, and you got your MD, PhD, you're getting your PhD. Like, it's possible. It's possible. You know what I'm saying? And I just don't want that to sort of like be diminished, because there's people who are paying literally to get their kids into these schools. But yeah, I feel like that's why you niggas, and myself included, have to strive for greatness, to show that, yes, you can sort of like, I mean, I suppose the other side is that you have to hustle your ass off. But anyway.
The amount of effort you have to put in is not the same as some other folks. So you just got to keep that in mind, I guess, because that's where the struggle is.
All right, the hustle continues in 2021.
Indeed,
it never stops.
Thanks, guys, for indulging me on that. I mean, I just wanted to get that idea out there. I've been thinking about it for a while. I'm just trying to.
Hey, this is what we do on RTBTH, man. It's real talk. God damn it. Anyway, are there any other 2020 items? I've been thinking, obviously, by the way, for the listeners, this is just a shoot the breeze type podcast. We ain't got no real script, just talking shit, which I think has been a very good podcast so far. But I was thinking, like, what was Trump's year like in 2020? Did Trump have a good year or a bad year? I mean,
his year ended up so bad.
Brad,
dog, his whole presidency just went down.
Yes,
low key,
fast,
low key. Like, he was actually a reasonable Republican president when he first came in. And then he just shit the bed on everything.
Today, what?
Today, you're wilding.
Republican. Bro, the
because
first
he hadn't
thing
done
that he
anything.
had
He
Sean
just came
Spicer
in.
do is lie to America. A bold-faced lie. That was the thing he set him out to do. Day one, bruh.
But he wasn't as disgraceful as he is now. Like, he's so disgraced. Like, there's so many things that have just gone upside down for him. I mean, he got impeached. He's, got his whole entire squad has been convicted. You know what I'm saying? Like, even, Ivanka and Jared Kushner are taking some shit right now. All of the books that have come out. I mean, it's like
unprecedented. It's unprecedented.
He's still tweeting about the election. It's 2021 now. Good times, man. You love to see that.
Donald
guy
Trump
fail,
is sad,
honestly.
yo. I mean, look, the fact that he hasn't been out and about, like, and just spewing as much BS as he normally does, shows, it gives us a window into his mental.
He's depressed.
State
He's
right
depressed,
now,
man. He can't even handle defeat, bro.
You see him playing golf. He doesn't even look happy out there. Dude is just over there going through the motions.
Yo, real quick. Sorry, another tangent. There's this documentary on Amazon. Well, I guess you probably get it a couple places, but I got it on Amazon Prime, and it's called Unfit, and it's specifically about the psychology of Donald Trump, and they actually go into like psychological constructs and mental health and stuff. But one of the people that they interviewed said that Trump cheats literally every time he plays golf. Like this, I think it was like a New York Times reporter or something that's been following that reports on golf, and I guess he ended up reporting on Trump's golf habits. But he said Trump cheats every single time, and that is just so telling, man, of the weakness that he is, of the weak person that he is, man. It's crazy. Like he's been super exposed this year, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, I think people knew that for a while. I think because the way he would hit the golf scores, he would tell people are always like 3 or 4 strokes like higher than what PGA Tour people be hitting, and people are like, like there's no way you're over here competing with Tiger and stuff. Get out of here, bro. We know you a liar.
Yeah, he's a disgraceful man.
Yeah, he's gonna go out. He's gonna go out. He's gonna go down in infamy. Not famous, infamy, and
yeah,
he might be the last one to know it.
Were you the one that James? Were you the one saying? I think on the group chat that you think that they're gonna put this boy in jail?
Yep.
Nah, fuck no.
I think so.
I don't think so, man. I don't know. So here's the reason why I don't think they will, man. It would be nice because he is a criminal. He's obstructed justice at so many levels. He's disgraced America, even stuff that you could say tantamount to being, treasonous. Some people throw that word out. But
I've said a while ago, the way he treated he dealt. Sorry, I hate to cut you off, but the way he dealt with the coronavirus was against the against America.
Of the country.
Yeah, I was like, I legit think that he was actually not. It wasn't incompetence. He was actually working against the best thing for the country. But anyway, sorry, go on.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's done a lot of things that he should have. If he was any other political official, he would be put in jail. But because he's the president, they give that position so much leeway in America. And historically, other presidents that have committed crimes have not actually been punished for their criminal deeds. And so I think, Gerald Ford pardoned Nixon. I think that if they were to charge him again, I think that the system would make sure that Donald Trump doesn't see jail time, even if they were to be able to actually go through and convict him of the many crimes he's committed, which I don't think they will be able to. I think he's going to get off by pardon at worst.
Yo, since it sounds like dinner is about to be ready soon for Ehi's family, and people are enjoying themselves, we may have to go ahead and wrap this one up. I also have to start cooking some things, but this was great. Uh-oh. Tune, what do you think? Are there any last thoughts or any
my bad, guys.
Ideas?
Yeah, one last thing real quick. I just want to ask, looking into 2021, I think the primary thing that we're gonna all be dealing with as a nation is the vaccine. And I'm trying to like not crack up dying laughing, but because it's so America and it's so Trump administration, but all I'm hearing is that the rollout has been just completely bungled. Like I was reading a story about MGH or Mass General Brigham is what they call themselves now, but like the major hospital system here, that's Massachusetts General Hospital, Brigham and
Isn't
Women's.
It Partners?
But they changed to Mass General Brigham last year.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is, I thought Partners was so much better, but whatever. Anyway,
they want to flex that name.
Dude, they've had Partners for like 20 years. Like now y'all want to flex it?
Yeah.
Anyway, but what do y'all think, man? Y'all think it's gonna be just like another part of the whole COVID experiment, or the whole COVID situation where pretty much everything has been bungled?
Yeah.
Pretty much, man.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Pretty much.
I mean, we'll be watching the rollout in other countries. Other countries got the vaccine too, so we'll see how they do it versus how we do it. I mean, just like before,
True.
Everybody else was over there living life back in, July, August. Things were going back to normal in a lot of places. We were still struggling hella hard. It's
No,
gonna
we
be like
weren't
that
because
again.
it was hella people out chilling.
I mean, it was a lot of people struggling. But so I think that it's gonna come down again to marketing. Like obviously they're gonna have to produce enough for people, but once it's like readily available for people who are not like practitioners in a hospital or doing some shit like that, people in the line of fire, once they make it available for regular people, how they market, you getting it is gonna be like fucking incredibly important. I almost said tantamount, but I'm not certain if that word fits here. But we see how like people have discussed past vaccines. Like you almost don't hear that much about the flu vaccine really. But every year they'll tell you, oh yeah, go get your flu shots. They're free now. Da, 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 da. But like there isn't ever really a marketing campaign of like, yo, you have to get this shit. You need to get this shit so that we can all have some sort of normalcy because I guess it's not that serious. Even though, yeah, a lot of people do die from the flu. But I've had people try to quote bullshit numbers at me of like, people dying from cancer after getting the polio vaccine. And I'm like, bruh, you don't have to worry about polio right now. So what is the issue? Like, what are you talking about where you're making up all these other things that people are dying of because of fear and because of, misinformation. But I think that how I guess it's going to have to be the U.S. government, Pfizer, Moderna, whoever else is creating one, how they tell people like, yo, this shit is good. 1 million people have already gotten it and have been fine. You need to get it too so you can come in this restaurant and not wear a mask. Otherwise, we're taking your temperature and we're doing all this shit, which sidebar, I don't hate that everywhere now takes your temperature, but we already know that doesn't mean shit. Niggas can have coronavirus and still not show a temperature. So what are you doing checking all our temperatures? What is the point? What does it matter? Again, at Hudson Grill that I was at, they fucking have some shit stuck on the wall that you like stick your forehead on. It's not even a person holding a gun. You have to fucking go over there and basically headbutt this motherfucking thermometer thing. It shit is crazy.
Is there someone reading it to tell you not to come in if you have
kind of. But like, bitch, I'm already in the building. I'm already standing here talking to your face.
Probably slide him a 10 and just walk in.
Yes. But like, yeah. But also, I guess if you do have a fever, you should stay home. Like, that's probably the biggest positive and lesson from 2020. People who are sick or presenting sick symptoms, just stay your ass at home. There's no, like I have in the past gone to class and been coughing and been like, oh man, I can't miss class. I can't fucking. Now, nah. Everybody kind of understands like, yo, we better not. Let's not risk it.
I don't
even know if I ever took a sick day when I was actually sick. I would just take a sick day just because I was tired, didn't want to go to work or some shit like that. Like when I'm sick, I'm just like, if I want to go to work, I'm like, fuck it, man. Ain't no sickness gonna stop me from going to work. Goddamn.
Hell yeah. Because we gotta hustle. That's another thing. Of like, yo, if I'm sick, the white man gonna come take my job. They know I'm fragile. That's what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now there ain't no sick days because you just work from home if you're sick. No more snow days.
That too. Yeah.
Damn. All right. Last thing, fellas, real quick before he has to go eat this good ass food. I got a conspiracy theory. Trump got coronavirus on purpose earlier before the vaccines came out so that he wouldn't have to get a vaccine on national television.
Wait a minute.
Wait, say it again.
Trump got COVID on purpose. Before the vaccines came out so that he wouldn't have to get a vaccine on national television.
Why would he get it on purpose?
He's afraid of needles?
No, because he's not wearing a mask. He doesn't want to exude any sort of like, he doesn't want to
fragility.
No, not necessarily fragility, but that coronavirus is a problem. It's an issue. He's not wearing a mask. He's not doing overt public things to sort of encourage like precautions with the with the coronavirus, right? He's not doing like these actual public things. He's not providing the imagery necessary for the nation to accept and understand that our president thinks that this virus is serious. So in order to avoid having to take the vaccine, because he's going to get the vaccine, he doesn't want to die. He's scared of death. You told me this and I believe it.
Yeah.
So he had to get the vaccine, and as president, he has to do it publicly. He preemptively negated that by getting coronavirus. My friends, is RTBTH.
Yes, indeed.
Because he wants the whole vaccine effort to fail. Is that the reason? He doesn't want to.
I mean, I don't think he cares about the vaccine. He just doesn't want to suggest that he cares about the virus enough to get a vaccine, to wear a mask, to socially distance.
I am low-key excited for him to just be a wild hater on everything positive in the future and just be like, yeah, that nigga in the background just like hating on everything Biden does, like yeah, stupid shit. Yeah. Because he, as a past president, still has to show up for shit. Is he not going to show up to the inauguration and other presidential shit?
Yo,
this man Obama been making the rounds. He's just going to be,
he said he might not.
Yeah, which would be insane because he's going to be live tweeting. He's going to be like, yo, I'm not watching that shit, but he's definitely watching it via
Herschel, man, you just somehow broke out. I don't know what happened, but I think that's a good way to
that's a good
go
sign
ahead and
for
end
us to
the podcast. Anyway, fellas, this
kicking us off.
This is RTBTH. We out.